Welcome to Flow School. This is the best training there is for creative sequencing, and I am delighted that you are here. And I'm excited about the journey that you're going to take as you find yourself and your voice through the experience of Flow School. We're doing things different around here. And we like that, and we're kind of proud of it. And the teachers who have been part of Flow School for years have found deep transformation in themselves and the way they want to show up in the world, the kind of teacher they want to be, and in the way that they have been able to meet their students. To bring something that not only lights them up as a teacher, because when you are moved, it moves others, but also that the people who have been in community with them are changed. Because these teachers are showing up more as themselves. They truly believe and understand why and what and why they are providing their students. And creative sequencing, it doesn't have a big space sometimes in teacher trainings, especially in the beginning. And there's a lot to learn as we jump into learning how to teach yoga and learning how to put together a sequence that is not a prescriptive sequence. That's not do this, then do that, then do this, and definitely don't do this before this. There's some rules, and we learn kind of a set sequence often. And I've had teachers come from Ashtanga and Baptiste yoga where there is a set sequence. This is a whole other sort of experience here. I've had teachers who come from aerial yoga and Buddha yoga and only teach those things and then join into Flow School here. I've had teachers who only teach yin and restorative who are like, I want to dabble into figuring out how to step into the vinyasa world, how to step into flow. So whether you have been teaching for over 20 years, which I've had teachers in the room who have taught for that long, or if you are brand new to teaching, you haven't even stepped in front of the room yet, welcome. This is a space where you will find something for you that is absolutely going to be new. There is a way that we organize things here, like recognizing that we have a bunch of building blocks. They're tools to make some sort of structure, to create a shape. And we are interested in looking at these building blocks and turning them sideways and saying, what if we reorganize them in this way? So we still get to honor the tradition of yoga and where it came from and how it is here with us and the gift that we get to give a practice of paying attention. To me, yoga is the practice of paying attention. That means it's so much bigger than movement. But we are asking people to move their bodies. And so us having a deep connection to understanding what we're asking people to do and how to scale it so they feel successful, and that if there is a challenge there, we know how to appropriately adjust that challenge to help them and also return the autonomy to that person, meaning they get a say in this, and helping them understand how they can personalize the practice. That's huge. So we get to honor that tradition, and then we get to bring in movement science, because that then helps us create a good framework and a blueprint of why are we doing what we're doing? Because we're here to do less better. We're not here to do a billion postures and have them be at a certain speed, because flow doesn't need a certain speed. Do I really enjoy teaching a breath-paced class? Yes. Will you learn how to do that here in Flow School? Yes, if that's something you want. It's also a skill you're going to have to develop, just like anything. But flow can be slow. Flow can be fast. Flow can be done in heat. Flow can be in a non-heated room. There's a lot of different ways that you can do flow. And when we bring movement science into it, then we say, okay, how do we create a 10-pose flow and create a peak flow class where everything in that class is just about those 10 poses, because that's what we're doing here. A peak flow class is not a peak pose class, where peak pose you have one particular posture, let's pick dancer, and you're gearing a whole class around eventually getting to dancer pose. Peak flow is where you are going to a particular flow, very much like you're going to a particular pose, but it's not the hardest thing. Peak doesn't mean the hardest. Peak means that it includes all of the body positions and all of the movement planes, and that it honors a natural gait of the body where it feels like the movement is intuitive, coming out and through you. And so you're going to find that in lessons, especially in the elements of flow. As you walk through those and try on the different experiences, and then go to sequence in your first flow prompts, then you're going to be able to put those things into practice. So we are here to build peak flows that are not just all the body positions and all the movement planes, but they are also circular. And by circular, I mean that if I start on Warrior 2 on the right side, and I have 10 poses, then there's 9 more poses to get through before I end up in Warrior 2 on the left side. And then I'll do 9 poses, and then I end up in Warrior 2 on the right side again. But there's one catch. There is no sun salutation in the middle. That means we're not doing chaturanga, up dog, and down dog to then get to the other side. We are removing that. We're going to play with a lot of arbitrary rules here in Flow School, where one, we look at rules that are given and say, okay, it's been said that you can only do this and in this order, and it counts if yoga if this happens. And we're like, well, is that really true? If yoga is the practice of paying attention, if yoga can look like laying on the ground and just breathing, and yoga can look like a handstand practice, and yoga can look like sitting with yourself and in community and service, like yoga can look like everything, right? And even if a pose doesn't have a name, if your body can do it, it's yoga. So we're going to look at rules and say, what do we want to keep? What makes sense here? And let's do that really intelligently. And then also, what happens if we make arbitrary rules, meaning a rule for just right here, right now? How does that help us tap into presence and get out of our head and into our body? That's fun. So in Flow School, I strongly encourage you to set down sun salutations, meaning chaturanga, up dog, down dog. Yes, you can still do those poses. Yes, they still work, and you can 100% still keep them in your flow. And the whole point of Flow School is that you get to pick these things up here online in a pace that makes sense for you. And then you can come to the live meetings, because we have a sequencing session and a masterclass every month. So you can come to a live session and we can have feedback here where you're sitting here with me and we can talk about things. You can bring the sequence that you're working on. You can ask questions about it. How would you scale it? How would you design a class around it? Does this particular transition work? How would you help a student who had XYZ so that they could feel successful in it? We get to ask and answer all of those sorts of questions. So when we take out sun salutations, though, I want this to be a reminder that this still is vinyasa. It has been a phrase that has caught on to say flow through your vinyasa, meaning when people need to do chaturanga, up dog, down dog. And I personally feel like it's a disservice because a sun A is not vinyasa. It is a vinyasa. But vinyasa means a special way to place something. So that is a vinyasa, but the rest of the class is also vinyasa. Are we focused on how we're placing the rest of our class and placing our body and moving through transitions mindfully and being with our breath and awareness? That is also vinyasa. And so I feel like it's a disservice to vinyasa. Sorry, vinyasa, that we're just saying that just that thing is vinyasa, because the whole thing is, are we paying attention to the way we're getting into and out of a thing? Are we letting the pose practice, which I very much think a pose practice is important as a groundwork and foundation for a flow practice. We're leading people to a flow practice, but we do a pose practice in class first. We bring those two together. And we don't have to have sun A's for it to be a successful yoga class. And you might feel really attached to sun salutations. Cool, get it. And your students might be. Cool, get it. We are not the teacher for everyone, and not everyone is a student for us. And that is okay. That's okay. Everything we do is an experiment here. That means every class that we teach. That means every cue that we give. That sometimes every story that we tell. And when we remember that's an experiment, it's pretty fun because then we can divorce ourselves from thinking that the thing that we're offering is a reflection of our worth as a human being. That's not how it goes. We throw it out there and it's an experiment. We show up and every time you teach a class, you're like, okay, what worked? What didn't work? That was weird. Mary did not go through that very well. Like, how could I have helped Mary, right? George over here, he was getting it, right? Like Charles, I'm not sure, right? Like we're like, okay, look, watching the students, like, oh, Charles didn't understand when I said that. Maybe I need to change my words there. Okay, cool. Right? So every class is an experiment, and that's exciting. It's exciting because it brings a different joy into our experience as teachers. And one of the important pieces of Flow School is for you to reconnect to your joy, because you chose to be a teacher. You don't have to be here in Flow School. You don't have to be at the front of the room. You are choosing it. And sometimes we get burnt out. And sometimes we don't feel inspired. And sometimes life is life and real hard and it feels heavy. And sometimes we lose the connection to the play and the joy in the practice. And this method is going to deeply ask you to show back up for yourself. And it doesn't take very much. It doesn't take a lot of time to show back up for yourself and to tap back into your play. Now, what might take time, what will take time, is learning a new method of sequencing. So you're going to have easy activities to try on and to really start to incorporate small pieces of teaching into your classes. And when you go to teach a peak flow, when you go to design a peak flow and to create that, because you're creative and you're a movement artist, by the way, in case you didn't know, your artistry in sequencing and putting together a 10 pose flow that makes sense with all the body positions and the movement planes, and learn how to cue it through the Q Lab lessons, then you got to figure out how to teach that. And it's really going to be a powerful thing to go through the journey of learning how to do something new. And we know that when we're beginners, that can feel a little bit sticky, and it takes a little bit longer because it's a new thing. We like new things. You are only a beginner once. You only get to hear in this lesson as the first time once. And then you move forward. And we learn kind of like this. We're like, we learn a little bit wildly, and it's the best. So I'm here for that type of learning. So just remember, we're not here for peak performance. A peak flow is not peak performance. It's not the hardest. And we are building in circles. I love everything in circles. I'm a circle, you're a circle. You're already whole. I'm already whole. Our students are already whole. And a circle because each of us are sitting here together. Like, what if you're watching this and I'm sitting here with you? And let's say there is 27 other people watching this in your country. And then across the world, there is 532 people watching this video right now. I want you to just imagine that. There's 532 people watching this right this second. The things that you have that you could share with me and all of them that would help change our perspective, that would bring us something that would make us be like, oh, that's so cool, or I never thought of it that way, that would change us. I believe that we are all sitting in a circle, and maybe at this moment I'm the one on the video, but you have something to give too, and your voice matters, and you owning the hell out of your voice so that you know that you can share it, so that the people around you in your community are lit up to live their best lives, to be the most free that they can be. My freedom to move is my desire for everybody else to have the freedom to move too. And if we are all here doing this together and all believing that we have something to learn from each other, that we sit in a circle, there's not a head of the circle, together we rise. That is what I believe here. We need each other. We need all different sorts of bodies and ages and skin colors and abilities and levels of knowing what yoga is. We need us all. We need us all. And it is a gift to be here with you. I am excited to have you in Flow School and for you to work through the lessons here. I'm excited that we get to meet live and on the calls together. I'm excited that you could also still choose to come in person for Flow Schools in person, because that is a whole other touchable sort of drop-in experience. I'm here for your comments. I'm here for our community, and I am excited to have you. Thank you. Thank you for showing up. Let's do this.